want to start this video by saying upfront, the title of this video is not clickbait. We'll dive into that topic towards the end of the video. So if that's why you're here, feel free to skip ahead to the section now showing on the screen. But before we get there, I'd like to encourage you to stick around because I'm also going to talk about why I believe it's so important to celebrate your birthday and the gift you can give to yourself. And of course, I'll be filling you in on what I'm actually doing in this video. Welcome, it's Barbara from Vienna, Austria. So you'll notice that I've kept this video at normal speed because I wanted to make sure the visuals wouldn't distract you too much while I'm sharing my thoughts, especially later on in the video, but instead give you something inspiring to look at as you listen. So you see me here playing in my current junk journal planner in the August signature, which is the last signature for this particular junk journal planner. I always have 4 months. Currently, next year I'll have 3 months per planner because they just get too bulky. If you want to see more about this planner and how I play in it, how I use it on a daily basis, please check out my Plan With Me playlist, which is linked below. Currently, I am making a tuck spot to add my to-do list into on this right page. And the kit I'm currently working on that I'm using for this month is called Bohemian Summer. You can find that under the Plan With Me August video, which is part of that playlist. What I'm cutting out here at the moment is actually from an old printable. It's called boho mandala pieces, which you can also find linked below, which are hand drawn by myself a few years ago, and I just thought they go so well with this current kit that I wanted to add some of these. And I had printed this particular piece on a regular copy paper, so it wasn't thick enough, so I just backed it with some cardstock. And then I decided it was still kind of too plain for me, even though it has a very intricate design. But I wanted to have some sort of a hole in there. So I was thinking either make a hole of some sort. In this case, I decided to use one of these butterfly die cuts. Or the other option would have been to add something on top, maybe like a white die cut, a flower, or even a butterfly as well. But then I thought, you know what, let's just make a butterfly hole in that tuck spot. So here we see it coming out of the die cut machine. And the cool thing about this option, of course, is you get 2 for 1. You get your butterfly hole and you also get a beautiful butterfly. So we're putting that butterfly to the side for now. And of course, I wanted to have something underneath this hole because otherwise you really wouldn't have seen it very well because the colors were not so different from the background to the tuck spot. But by adding something like a white piece of lace underneath, it really comes out. And I really like the look of this. So I had 2 options of different lace that I wanted to try that I thought might work. Both are beautiful pieces, but it was very clear to me from auditioning both of these pieces that it had to be the first one. So I just cut out a little piece of that, which had a large enough border so I could still glue it on the back of the tuck spot. What I did notice while gluing is that when you do something like this, you have to kind of be careful because when you then put something into the tuck spot, it might get caught on the lace. So what you could consider, if that actually is the case, is to just put another cardstock or paper behind the lace to make the paper, whatever you're trying to put in that tuck spot, slide in a little bit better. Or maybe you could also just use either some washi or some regular tape to just put around the edges of the lace so that nothing could get caught there. In this case, I was able to just glue on that lace and it worked fine to then just put something into that tuck spot. But maybe you have that issue and that would be a very easy way to solve that. So for my next Plan With Me video, which will be Plan With Me September, which is just unbelievable. I don't know where the summer went, to be honest. But for that next video, it means that this planner will be full and I will be making a new planner. So if you're interested in seeing how I make these kind of junk journal planners using a grocery paper bag and some fabric, then stay tuned for that video. I think it's coming out next week and you can watch that process. I go through the same process every 4 months, so you could also go back to my other videos. Definitely the Plan With Me January has it because I started a new planner in January, so you could always watch that as well. As I said, it's always a very similar process and it's working so well for me that I don't see a reason to change this. This process has developed over the last couple of years. I've been doing this for, I'm not sure now, 4 years or something like this with these junk journal planners. And they just help me so much because I put everything in there, basically my whole life. I put my to-dos in there, my tasks. I put appointments in there if they're work related, but of course you could put any appointments in there. You could put birthdays in there. And I also add art. I recycle old art from other journals that I've never filled up, but I wanted to keep the art. I make new art. I add ephemera. I add things like tickets or, when I go to an exhibition or just little bits I receive from friends, napkins from a dinner I've been to. There's so many things you can do. It's like a junk journal, but it's also a planner, which is kind of like a bonus. I also track my fitness, my daily steps and things like that. So my life is in this book and it makes me so happy. I really go to it every single day and I could not imagine my life without it. So if you've never tried having one of these junk journal planners, I encourage you to give it a go. Even if you think you don't have many important appointments, that's not the point of it. It's about keeping memories of what is happening in your life, what is important to you in that stage of life. Also, for example, you could put in samples of things that you purchase, craft supplies you purchase. Like I've added swatches of paints, of markers, of distress oxides. I've added little samples of fabrics and so on. So I just think it's fun to look back at these planners and to see what was I into during that time? What movies did I watch? What did I listen to? What things were going on in my mind at that time? Obviously, you can add lots of journaling, which is something I don't do enough of. But I think it would be very interesting to go back and read whatever was in my mind at that time. I really adore making junk journals, all kinds of different shapes and sizes. But usually I tend to add a theme to a junk journal, and that doesn't really seem to work well for me in the sense of I really enjoy making it, but then somehow it doesn't inspire me to work in it because the theme kind of restricts me, I have the feeling. And when I work in my planner here, I feel so free and I feel like there's no pressure at all. This is just for me. And I can put in it whatever I want. And it's basically telling a story of my life. And that's why I have so much fun with these planners. I did also recently create an XL art journal. There's a whole other playlist for that one. And that's also very eclectic. And I'm currently challenging myself to work in that one as well, and I'm having a lot of fun with it, and it's a very different style again of working in another journal. So I just love having the option of having different journals and being able to working them depending on what I feel like on that day. But interestingly, my themed journals, which I really love, and I have many of them on display here in my craft room. I love looking through them, but I can't work in them for some reason. Is that something you can relate to? Have you had similar issues? Are there journals that you really enjoy working in, and why is that? And are there others you just enjoy making, but you don't work in them? I would love to hear your thoughts on this topic. So going back to what I'm doing here in the video for a moment, this is the back side of my to-do card. I could have just left it blank, but I think it's kind of boring. So I will be writing on this side of the card. And I wanted to add a little bit of interest. And I had just on that day gotten myself a whole bunch of new Amsterdam acrylic paints because I plan on using those on my jelly plate because I know they work great on my jelly plate. And I'm kind of done with playing around with different kind of paints. Some work, some don't. So I just want something that works, and I just wanted to try them out, and this was a perfect way to do that. But finally now, let's get into the two topics that you've been waiting for. You know, for the longest time, I didn't like celebrating my birthday. I shied away from the attention, the fuss, and the idea of being in the spotlight. Because deep down, I felt like I hadn't done anything truly remarkable to warrant a celebration. I mean, what had I really done? I'd simply gotten a year older. Where's the achievement in that? But as the years went by, something shifted in me. I began to see birthdays differently, not just as another day to mark off the calendar, but as a profound reminder of the privilege it is to be here, alive, healthy, and surrounded by blessings. I realized that every year we get to celebrate is a gift, a milestone that shouldn't be taken for granted. This year for my birthday, I gave myself the gift of acceptance. For those of you who have been following my journey, you know that I've been on a fitness journey for the past 6 months, and it hasn't been easy. There were setbacks, some really tough ones, like when I broke a rib, but I never gave up. Once I healed, I got right back into it. And this journey has been about more than just getting fit. It's been about transforming the way I see myself. So for my birthday, I decided to step out of my comfort zone in a big way. For the first time ever, I chose not to hide behind an oversized t-shirt, which had always been my go-to, my security blanket, if you will. I made the decision to accept my body as it is right now, even though it's still a work in progress, of course, even though I'm not yet where I want to be. But I realized that in order to continue this journey, I needed to embrace where I am today. So I put on tight-fitting clothes that showed every curve and flaw, and I walked into the fitness studio where, let's be honest, 90% of the girls there have incredible bodies. Believe me, it wasn't easy. I had to hold my head up high and remind myself, this is me. I'm not hiding anymore. Take it or leave it. It's up to you. And by the end of that session, I felt more confident than ever. And you know what? Since that day, I've worn tight-fitting clothes to the gym every single time. It's been so incredibly freeing, like shedding an old skin and stepping into a new, more empowered version of myself. I'm sharing this story with you because I know many of you are on your own journeys, whether they're about fitness, self-acceptance, or something else entirely. We all have areas in our lives where we feel vulnerable, where we hesitate to show our true selves because we're not yet where we want to be. But here's the thing. Growth doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. And part of that process is learning to accept where you are right now, even as you strive for more. So whatever your journey looks like, I encourage you to give yourself the gift of acceptance. Embrace where you are today, even if it's not perfect, even if it's not the end goal. Because that acceptance is what will give you the strength to keep moving forward, to keep pushing toward the future you envision for yourself. As we get older, birthdays can sometimes feel bittersweet. They remind us of the passage of time and of the years that have flown by. But they also remind us of the richness of our lives, of the wisdom we've gained, the memories we've made, and the love we've experienced. It's a time to pause and reflect, to appreciate how far we've come, and to look forward with hope and excitement for what's still to come. So the next time your birthday rolls around, I hope you'll take a moment to truly celebrate yourself. Not just for the years that have passed, but for the person you've become and the life you've built. Because that's worth celebrating today and every single day. Thank you for being part of my journey and for allowing me to be part of yours. So let's get to the point. Let's get to why you probably clicked on this video in the first place. Let's take a moment to talk about something that's been weighing on my mind a lot the past few weeks. You see, what we have here isn't just a channel, it's a community. It's a place where creativity thrives, where ideas are shared, and where we inspire each other to create beautiful things, whether it's through junk journaling or tutorials or simply sparking that little bit of inspiration that keeps you crafting. But here's the reality. My channel is dying. I know this sounds horrible, and believe me, I don't say this lightly. It's something that's hard to admit, but it's true. The content I pour my heart into, the videos I create with the hope of bringing value to you, are struggling to reach new eyes. And it's not because the content itself, I believe, is any less meaningful or impactful. It's because the system, the YouTube algorithm, doesn't see the engagement it needs to push these videos out to others who might find joy in them, just as you hopefully do. So you see, YouTube operates on a kind of feedback loop. When you watch and like and comment, and especially when you subscribe, you're telling the algorithm that this content is valuable, that it's worth sharing with a wider audience. Without that engagement, the system assumes there's no interest, and as a result, my videos get buried under the endless stream of new content. It's as if the channel and this community is slowly withering away. But it doesn't have to be this way. Communities, whether online or in the physical world, they thrive when we support one another. We know this. When we lift each other up, when we show up consistently, and when we contribute in whatever way we can. This community, our community, has always been about sharing, about helping and inspiring one another. And right now, I need your help to keep it alive. So if you find joy in the content I create, if my junk journal tutorials, my tips, or even just the creative inspiration you get from these videos brings any kind of value to your life, I am asking you today for your support. Not just by watching, but by actually engaging, by hitting that like button, leaving a comment, and most importantly, subscribing if you haven't already. But this isn't just about me. Every creator you enjoy on this platform, every channel that brings you value, relies on your engagement to keep going. If there's a creator who inspires you, entertains you, or teaches you something new, they need your support too. Subscribing, liking, commenting. These small actions have a big impact on their ability to continue creating content that you love. I don't want you to subscribe just for the sake of it. That wouldn't help anyone. But if you're here, if you're watching these videos regularly, if you found value in what I share, your subscription is a way to ensure that this content continues to exist, that it continues to reach others who might also find joy in it. Think of it as a small act of kindness, a way of giving back to a community that gives so much to you. Because every time you engage, you're not just helping me, you're helping to keep this space alive for everyone who loves creativity as much as we do. So I'm asking you, as someone who values this community so much, to take that extra step today. Subscribe, like, comment. Let's show the algorithm that this content matters, that it deserves to be seen, and that this community isn't going anywhere. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your support, and thank you for helping to keep this channel and the channels of all your favorite creators alive. Love you guys.
Mwah, mwah.